A very good afternoon, one and all. Uh, so today's webinar is on the topic of higher education after engineering, and it will be presented by two of our alumni, which Utkarsh will be introducing later. And the panelists for today's webinar are Abhishek Paul, that is me, and Mr. Utkarsh Singh. And we are also accompanied by Bhageshri ma'am, who is a part of the WAF team, and obviously the speakers. So without much delay, let's start the webinar. And I would like Utkarsh to please introduce our speakers.
Thank you, Abhishek. So joining us today, the speakers are Mr. Vaibhav Srivastav, who is doing his MBA from Great Lakes Institute of Management, Chennai, and Mr. Kaustav Singh, who is doing his MTech from IIT Gandhinagar. Both are from class of 2020. So firstly, I would like Mr. Vaibhav Srivastav to introduce himself and talk us about his journey.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Utkarsh, for the introduction. As you said, my name is Vaibhav Srivastava, and I'm currently completing the PGDM program from Great Lakes Institute of Management, Chennai. So, I'd like to start my journey as when I joined the college, I was really interested in all the technicalities and engineering as such. And it was really interesting, and it really is interesting now. But what happens is many of you may relate to this feeling that you don't want to uh, build your career around something so technical. You want something else, and that something else may come in the form of management. So now I'll tell you some more about what management entails, what a life in management entails, and what sort of a career can you expect if you choose management as your field of study. So in management, there are 4 or 5 basic fields that you can go through. There is marketing, there is finance, there's operations, analytics, and strategy. So I'll run you through each of these one by one. First of all, marketing is something that how customers think of a product or a service. So this is a very general idea, and you try to sell products, but not just sell products. You try to think about a product or a service in every possible way imaginable. Second, we have finance. Finance is everything related to money. Now, most of the times we see that engineers do not usually choose finance as their field of interest, but that is not always true. We have seen a lot of engineers adopt finance, master it, and then go on to like be legendary in that field. Next is operations. What is operations? Operations is how you run a company, the day-to-day operations of a company. So, for example, a manufacturing company's operations include the procurement of raw materials, how the raw materials are processed to make finished products, how the finished products are kept in the inventory, and then how the inventory is transferred to the final point of sales. Then strategy and consulting comes in. It's an even more broader sense of a word. For example, so this is where companies hire consultants to discuss about various topics. The topics can be something like a company wants to start a wants to explore into a new domain, say for example in a rural part of India, and wants advice if their product strategy is good enough. So this is more of a real world example where you study different things, you identify all the key variables, and then you make a decision based on that. And finally, we have analytics, which is going to be my minor field of study. Analytics is where you get a whole load of data. You try to derive insights from it. It goes by a more buzzword that is data science, but data science is more towards the CS engineering part of things, whereas analytics is more geared towards business, where we understand what what the things are and how they're relevant in a business context. So, excuse me. So how would you know if you want to do management instead of pursuing a further career in engineering? So if you think that you like the technical aspect of things, obviously because that's why you joined engineering. But if you think like me that this is not the life for you, you want to work on a more corporate path where your job entails less of research, less of uh, taking care of other equipment, and more of interacting with other corporates, interacting with customers, devising plans on how to sell products or services, or making sure the company's financial matters do not go away. This is where management would be a good field for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vaibhav. Now I would like Mr. Kaustav Singh to speak about his journey so far.
Thank you, Utkarsh. First of all, I would like to thank Bhagyashree ma'am, Utkarsh, and Abhishek for this opportunity, and also my colleague Vaibhav for joining this session with me. So, okay, everyone knows I have completed my BTech from Northeastern Regional Institute of Science and Technology, and currently I am pursuing my MTech in Electrical Engineering from Indian Institute of Technology, Gandhinagar. So of course, this is different from the non-technical path. It's masters in technology, so it's highly technical. I would like to tell everyone present here that if you are interested in digging deep into a particular course or a particular topic of that course, you should definitely join MTech. I would like to tell you how MTech is different from BTech. Like, let's say you study approximately 8 to 10 subjects in 4 years in BTech. And in MTech, you study a particular topic, a particular subject in 2 years. For example, my interest uh, is in power systems. So power system is a very vast topic. You have lots of things to do, starting from its generation, its transmission, its distribution, and its utilization. So right now, I'll be working on the utilization aspect of power system. I am working on a very new topic, not a very new topic, but a very hot topic, the electric vehicles. I'll be working on its braking system. So that is how it is. And that is how MTech is. You go deep, very deep into a particular topic. One thing I would like to tell everyone is focused on getting a job. So there are job opportunities, not directly, but there are indirect job opportunities. For example, I am currently working with my supervisor. I mean, there is an opportunity to work with my supervisor and two of my other colleagues on improving the efficiency of something called brushless DC motor for a very big brand in India called Hero MotoCorp. So this is only possible if you are pursuing MTech, right? You won't get such an opportunities in BTech. Also, apart from all this, these are the very vague, broad topics. You are the students of, I am the alumni of NERIST and you are my juniors. So it's my duty to tell you about a very interesting program by the virtue of which I am studying in IIT Gandhinagar. That is the Early Admit Masters. There is a concept, and the concept is right that you need to get GATE to pursue masters in an IIT, but that is not always true. This IIT Gandhinagar offers a program which has only one condition, that you have to be top 5 of your class. If you are the top 5 of the class, you can enroll into the program and give an exam or an interview, and yes, you get admitted to IIT Gandhinagar, to an IIT. And yeah, people might say that IIT Gandhinagar is only 10 years old, and I'm not telling you this, I'm not bragging about IIT Gandhinagar because I'm a student here, but it is because yes, it is actually good. The environment is quite good. The program that they're offering is very good. Plus, even if you're not getting, if you do not have a GATE qualification, you still get a stipend, and everything follows. Okay. So there are benefits, like you can still pursue MTech in an IIT without having a GATE. If you have a GATE, well and good. And if you're preparing for GATE, you also enroll for this program. No harm in that. किसी का कुछ जाएगा नहीं. That's all I have to say. I guess we can open our floor to questions.
Thank you, Mr. Kaustav. Now, I would like the fellow attendees to ask questions to our speakers. They can either type or ask directly from the mic.
I see one question there. from Renew. Why did you choose to do higher studies? So I guess, Renew, I would like to ask you, whom would you like to answer, Vaibhav or both?
I guess both of us can answer. We can share
Okay,
our
sure.
thought processes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'd like to start. First of all, this is a very good question. After you complete your BTech, you have two options. Either you pursue a higher study or you do not. If you do not pursue a higher study, you can either take some time off to think through what you want to do, or you can take a job and then work there. So the different things that one has to keep in mind, or what I kept in mind was, uh, before you need to know if you think that you can navigate your career using a BTech degree alone. So what I thought was that a BTech degree alone is not enough for me, so that to get to the level which I wanted to in my life. So this brought down my choices to I had to do a higher study. Now, to a general person, again, you have to retrospect. You have to understand, are you willing to study more? Because uh, a higher degree, a higher field. So this will be a master's degree, right? This will be either a master's in technology or master's in business administration. So a master's degree always entails more study, more hard work, and everything else. So the different question that you should ask is whether you will be able to cope up with it. Do you want more knowledge in your lab? And the benefits would obviously be that you would be more qualified. You would be getting a higher salary package if you when you do get placed after your higher study. So these are the pros and cons which every person has to balance, and the answer will be different for everybody. And in both of our cases, we decided that we wanted to pursue higher studies.
Okay, so I would like to tell my experience. Yeah. I would like to tell my experience. So, of course, as I've already mentioned, MTech is an extension to your BTech. Okay, it's a narrow way path. Like, let's say you're class 10, you take all the courses, then you come to class 11, and then you have to choose science. Then again, science. After science, you have to choose whether MBBS, whether you want to pursue doctor, or do you want to pursue engineering. After engineering, there is MBA or MTech, and then again in MBA there are, I believe there are like branches of subjects that you have to choose, that from which you have to choose. And similar is the case with MTech. So I liked one subject very much. I wanted to learn more about it. I wanted to work more on it. Uh, but yes, of course, your choice you have to keep in mind, as Vaibhav has already mentioned. Many people say that MTech or masters, any masters have lesser subjects than BTech. Maybe correct, but yes, you have a load of you get a huge amount of load on your shoulders. Okay, it's not just, it doesn't just boils down to study and writing papers. It also the institute also want you to take some duties, take some lab courses, check their papers, and it's a tiring job. Okay, and to be honest, IIT is a very different environment from NERIS. It's like uh, uh, how to say, they take surprise tests, they take surprise quizzes. The online exam is completely different. In Nearest, you write a 30 marks question paper in 2 hours, and in my experience, I have to write a 40 marks question in just 1 hour. And it's not 40 marks, it's more than that, but it's evaluated to be 40. uh, Other thing you have to keep in mind is, do you really want it? Like, are you ready for it? I'm not discouraging you, but you might be influenced by us just looking at us being studying in IIT and Vaibhav's Institute. Uh, but yes, you have to keep this thing in mind. Like, are you ready to do it? There are pros, there are cons. You'll get to do R&D in various labs. IIT have very great labs. You can work upon them. You can work with any kind of equipment you want, and at any point of time. So if you are pursuing masters, all the very best. If you're not interested, then it's well and good. I know you have something else in mind. I too also have had I also wanted to do job after BTech, but somehow my mind got diverted into this, and I'm very happy with it. So that would be my answer to you. Thank you. Thank you, Renew, for the question.
I see the next question by Dul. Whether to go with MBA or MTech. So this whole discussion webinar is about informing the students on what choice they can make, and the final decision of what to choose always depends on the students themselves. You have to, like I said, retrospect, understand what is it that drives you. Like Kostov said, he liked his field of power systems and then he tried to pursue it. Similarly, for me, even when I was studying in Eris, I found that I was greatly interested in the field of analytics. And then I researched what are the other avenues that I can go through. And I found this college, Great Lakes, which is one of the best colleges in India for analytics. And this is what I want to, how I want my career to be. So for everybody, the question is always about what is it that drives you? Because once you get into a job, and if you don't like that job, it's very difficult to pull through it. You will not be able to make yourself work for the next 30 years. So you need to find what drives you. What is it that you want to do, and then go for it. That is according to me.
Okay, Renew, I would like to answer your question. See, I would like to tell you what scenario it is in India. So most of the things that I have seen, it is like, let's say a company comes for you in BTech level. Okay. So it will, let's say it's a mass recruiter. So mass recruiters don't pay you much because they take around 900 to 1000 students all over the country, and they can't pay you more than 3-4 lakhs per annum. Okay. So the problem in India is MTech is not very much valued. Okay. As it is valued in other countries around the world. The basic reason behind this is when you pursue MTech, no, let's start with the beginning. When you pursue BTech, you have a basic understanding of all the subjects. Okay, you study various subjects. I guess Renew is in agriculture engineering, so you'll be studying a lot of civil engineering stuff, a lot of mechanical stuff, a lot of agricultural stuff. So you have a very broad knowledge about everything, very basic broad knowledge about everything. When you enter MTech, it's streamlined. The you pursue a single thing. Okay, you are behind a single topic, single thing. The companies that come to recruit you wants you to mold you according to them. Okay, when you are already in case of MTech, you're already molded into a shape, a particular subject. So it gets very difficult for them to mold you again. Okay, that is why the pay scale for BTech and MTech is almost the same. But in my opinion, once you are into MTech and you're doing MTech from a good institution, you gain interest over the same topic and you want to research more. The MTech time period is mostly 2.5 years. So if you want to give more time, you have to pursue PhD. And there again, there is a concept that after doing PhD, you have to go for teaching. Not necessarily. You can join R&D of any company and they'll be happy to have you. And I've seen many of my PhD seniors going into R&D of BMW and Audi from here in IIT Gandhinagar. So it's a good opportunity to do PhD as well. If you are interested to do job after your masters, I would suggest you do MS, Masters of Science. You give an exam, IELTS, and there are very good institutions in Europe which offer MS along with scholarship. So you should join that and you will get very good job. What is different between MS and MTech is you have course load and then research load, but MS is more research oriented. So that is why getting into R&D after MS is easy. Okay, but you have to work on IELTS as well. Okay, that would be my answer to you. Thank you.
The next question I see is from Rajat. He asks, how much do we have to prepare for CAT? So this is the part when, if you have decided that you want to pursue a higher education MBA. So there are a variety of exams that B schools accept. The most popular exam is CAT, the Common Aptitude Test, the Common Admission Test, sorry, and it's conducted by the various IIMs. Every year an IIM takes the responsibility. It's just like GATE except for the B schools. So CAT generally consists of 3 sections, but the sections may tend to change. So a more general or a better way to prepare would be take there will be a lot of books, obviously. Prepare for that for a few months. Read through every aspect, practice a lot of problems. After you have done that, there are a lot of mock papers available which you can buy, sets of like 50, 100 papers, and then start solving the papers in a time yourself when you're solving them. You should not restrict yourself to 3 hours. First, for the first few papers, you can try to see how long do you take. Then try to find out which are the sections that you spend time on. Then the other aspects that you could figure out is what eats up your time. Which types of questions do you take time in? Like, not necessarily you're not able to solve them, but more importantly, you do solve them, but you take a lot of time in solving them. So you have to time yourself. You have to see what it is that is a blockage for you, and then address that. The best way to do it is always to solve a lot of mock papers, and the right time would be, I think, 2 months before the start of CAT. You should start solving at least one mock paper every single day, and then understand what is it that you lack and how you can improve.
Okay, so I would like to ask some questions which we have received during registration. So Shubharti Roy is asking, how can I believe my GATE preparation along with semester studies?
Okay, Shubhrati, is she there in this one? Utkarsh, hello.
Yes, she is.
She is present in this one, Zoom meeting. Okay, so
Yeah.
Shubhrati, I would like to answer your question. See, GATE. See, when you are preparing GATE, I believe GATE is not just. Uh, People say they prepared GATE in 1 year, but it's not like that. Those who prepared GATE in 1 year, they were just revising the stuff they've already studied in the past 4 years. Okay, so you have to go hand in hand. If your concepts are clear from the very beginning, when the course is taught, that would really help you when you are finally preparing for GATE. And one key important thing for GATE is, okay, you have the concepts, that is good, well and good, but you have to solve a lot amount of questions. Okay, because sometimes what happens, you have the concept, and you have the formula, but there are certain ways a problem has to be solved, certain things that you have to think when you're solving a problem, and that doesn't click when you just have the concept. You have to solve questions, you have to have practice. Okay, so I believe GATE is not just like it doesn't have a time period of any kind. Even if you are taking a course, online course, there are mock courses, I guess. They are like crash courses, not mock courses. So they try to finish syllabus in like 30, 40 lectures. That is good, but they don't give you concept. They try to tell you the formulae, and they try to help you practice more problems. Okay, so I would suggest what would be more helpful is you keep making notes of whatever subjects you're studying. You uh, try to clear out your concepts, and when you're finally preparing for your GATE in your final year, uh, mm, uh, it would be released. And yes, it is possible to prepare for GATE and with your academics. Okay, it's not. It's difficult. It's a difficult exam, but it's still possible. My elder sister, my friends, they have cracked GATE without any coaching or anything. So if they can, you can too. And for the record, I don't have a GATE score. Unfortunately, I got too excited with IIT Gandhinagar results and couldn't prepare well. So yeah, I don't have a GATE, but I can lecture you on that. Okay, so I hope I answered your question, Subrati. Thank you so much. Raksha is
Yeah.
okay. Raksha is asking if it is a good idea. If it is, would it be a right decision to prepare for competitive exam while doing MTech? I would say no. Uh, when you are pursuing MTech, you have a lot in your hand, and you should focus on that. You shouldn't be, if you are, see, MTech shouldn't be your option to anything. Okay, it shouldn't be. If you want to prepare for a job, if you want to prepare for another exam, take your time, prepare for another exam. But if you have started your MTech and you have started your MTech in a good institution, you should continue with that. And in my experience, you won't get time to prepare for any other exams when you are pursuing MTech. Okay, they load you with a lot of stuff. They load you with assignments, quizzes. Last semester I had quizzes and class tests every week, so your time will be dedicated in preparing for all those quizzes and assignments rather than preparing for any competitive exam. So if you ask me, I would say no, you shouldn't prepare for any other exam while you're pursuing MTech. Thank you. Sorry, Abhishek, for interrupting.
The next question is from Shovik. He asked, what is my opinion for taking a year gap to prepare for higher studies? So this is a very touchy topic because the answers can vary wildly depending on what the context was. So if you take a year off to prepare for another exam, and if it goes well and you get into a high ranked IIM or a high ranked IIT, it's all well and good. People do not focus more on that part, but it also depends on what your current score was. So if anybody does not want to to prepare for the exam now thinking that they'll take a year gap and then see what happens, that is not the way to go. You should always in your final year give both the exams, see what, like, prepare really well, but choose which of the ones that you really want to do. I gave the CAT exam as well as GATE because why not, you have to. I prepared for CAT a lot, and GATE I did prepare in between, but not that much. When my CAT score arrived, I had to balance, I had to see what are the trade-offs. So I got a decent enough score that I got a college that is, I think, the third best in India for analytics, which is a field that I wanted to pursue in. So this is where I decided that rather than hoping for a better score next year, I should take the opportunity to study. Next, if your score is not that good, or if you're not getting into a college or a related field that you do not want, and you're really confident that you can more than make up for it next year, then I think you should go for it. Take the year off, prepare well, and then study again. In case of MBA, there's another caveat. If you have a job in your hand, then another option that you can do is follow the executive program for MBA, where you in different colleges there's a different policy. In my current college, the minimum job experience that you need to have is 2 years. After you have 2 years of job experience, you can apply for that program. It completes your MBA in 1 year, and the packages offered are much higher compared to the normal 2 year PGDM. So this is also another question that you need to keep in mind, that what is what is your current scenario? Do you have a job in hand? Is your current competitive score good enough for you? With this score, are you getting into the colleges that you want with the courses that you want to study? And then you should follow like a decision tree with a yes no, and you finally reach a note. I hope this answers your question. And one of the worst things that people do, and I'm sorry for if I'm being harsh, but generally what I've seen, and I'm the placement coordinator in this college, one of the placement coordinators, so I've seen this a lot. People, they tend to take a year off just to think through what they want to do, which is okay, but it always raises a red flags in the eyes of the corporate, because they really don't like to see too many years of a gap without a proper explanation for it. So again, in case thinking is what you need to do, I suggest you start thinking right now. It's never too early to start thinking. Start thinking what you want to do, what is your current scenario, and then take a decision.
Okay, so the next question is asked by P2000. I don't know. What are the other advantages of GATE than getting into a good institute for further studies? Okay, so GATE does not only helps you getting into institution, but also helps you getting a job in a PSU, public sector undertaking. So there are companies like BHEL, PGCIL, HAL, and Indian Oil and everything. Okay, so there is one clarity I want to make here. Our institute gets offers from PGCIL. PGCIL does not recruit; they only take GATE scores. They GATE scorers. The reason why they are recruiting in our institution is because our institute in Northeast. So they have a provision for Northeastern states and Jammu and Kashmir that they'll recruit. It's a special provision only made for Northeastern states and Jammu and Kashmir. But they are unpredictable. They can come, they can't come. And there is a categorization, of course, OBC, SC, ST, and general. So it's a very lucky deal, but if you prepare well for GATE, you score really high, you have a really high score, you can get into PSU. You just have to keep a check online how they are taking it, what are their cutoffs. So yeah, but I would like to make a note here that for PSU, for getting into PSU, you need very high GATE scores, and if you are a mechanical engineer, then the score goes even high. It's almost 80, 90 out of 100. So you have to keep that thing in mind. Okay, I hope I answered your question.
There's another question from in Tech Diva. So his or her question was how to do a startup along with studies during the college days itself. So he seems to be asking the guidance from you.
We can try to answer that question, but I don't think it's related to higher studies in any way. So to do a startup, what you really need is your business plan. What is it that you want to do? And people generally think they have good ideas, and they are generally good ideas. But a good idea is not the only thing that you require to start a business. You need to know what is it that you plan to do, who are your customers, how much are you willing to price them, and how much demand are you expecting. And every single aspect has to be thought through before you start the journey, because once you've started it, there's no going back. All the money has been invested, and that is also one of the things. How much money are you willing to invest, right? So the best thing would be, before starting any venture, you should think about every single aspect. Also think about the different situations that may happen. Worst case scenario, for example, you estimate, for example, you want to start a printer shop, right, in your hostel room. Suppose you estimate that you will get about 20 customers per day. So you should think about what would happen if I get 0 customers for a week. Am I equipped enough to handle that loss? What if I get 200 customers a day? Will I be available there to make the purchase or to serve them? So you should consider all of these. And again, since you're studying right now, it is not very advisable to flunk your studies for a business idea. Then again, if you think that you can really succeed in that business, go right ahead. But at the end of the day, I don't think anything is worth inhibiting, like to sacrifice your studies for anything else. If it pans out well and good for you, but if it does not, then you're screwed. So it's a balance. Again, it's a trade-off. You have to decide for yourself what you need to do.
Okay, the next question is from James Pai. He's asking, what are the core abilities to be an innovative engineer?
Innovative engineer, as in, I didn't get the question. I mean, see, most of the things we do in engineering is already saturated. Okay, so there are some new concepts we Most of the things that we do are related with improving the efficiencies. Mostly, like everything you see, every research paper you see, it's all about efficiency and pricing. How to bring up the efficiency, at the same time how to bring down the cost of the equipment. So innovation, see, there is a very false concept. I have seen this. Whenever you prepare a project, the project need not to be innovative. Okay, because on the way of doing that project, you're learning a lot of things. Let's say you're making a circuit, so you learn how to use a breadboard or a PCB, or you etch in PCB, like etch a PCB using some chemicals. So that is also a part of the process, right? Learning process. Also, you learn how to make a report, which is a very crucial part of the project. So it's not always about the innovation, but I wouldn't say like on a BTech level, yes, you can innovate things, but not like you can produce a new thing. You can make a new thing from already existing thing, or maybe improve the already existing thing. So right now, in my opinion, and what I have seen here is most of the people are working on improving what is already existing. And in the process of that improvement, they are, of course, building new things, new like let's say we are trying to improve, like for the project I have or I might have from the Hero MotoCorp, like to improve the efficiency of BLDC motor, we need to uh, develop or design a new controller. Okay, we need to design a new power electronic controller to improve the efficiency of the machine. So that is how it goes. It's not like you're going to invent anything. Everything is already invented. We just try to improve what we already have. Okay, so I hope I answered your question.
So I think this is our last question. It's from Shalu Kumari. She believes it's a good idea to get a job into a good PSU, but she wanted to know how is the idea of doing higher studies after getting a job.
Idea about higher studies, I would like to tell my opinion and what I think. It's okay. All right. Higher studies, if you have made up your mind that you want to do higher studies, but due to some reasons you have to go for a job, that is fine. Okay. But what happens actually is once you get into job, you get involved. Okay. You get too much involved into that, and going back to pen and paper is a difficult job, because what when you have a job, it's a quite practical environment, and it's very different from what we have studied in our books. Okay, the design concepts and everything is very different. So if you want to do a job, it's well and good, and after that, if you are motivated enough that you'll do for the studies after getting a job, it's fine. I would like to shed light on something, like there are many firms which offers their employees to pursue masters, both MTech and MBA, after around 2 to 3 years of job. So they are not very much detached from their studies. Okay. In my opinion, like let's say PGCIL comes to Northeast. Let's say PGCIL comes to our institution nearest. So they have what to say, they have a condition that if they recruit you, you have to work for 10 years in Northeast. You have to serve 10 years, I mean 9 years plus 1 year training in Northeast. Okay, that is fine. They have a very good pay, but you get detached from your studies because they have a huge amount of workload. Like right now PGCIL is very much understaffed, so that is the issue. But again, if you are motivated enough that you want to pursue masters, uh, then go for it. Yeah. And one more thing you have to keep in mind is the age limit for masters. Okay, PhD, I don't think there is the age limit, but masters, I guess there has to be an age limit. So you have to keep those things in mind. I hope I answered your question.
To add to that answer, I would like to say one more thing, that you should have everything planned, every contingency. You should look ahead for every single contingency and have a plan for it. So you're looking ahead to joining a PSU for your further career. That's okay. Then you should also have a contingency. What if you don't get selected to that PSU? What is your plan then? Would you want to search for other jobs, or would you want to do higher studies? Then in case of higher studies, then you would like to answer what kind of jobs would you apply to, what kind of higher study would you want to. So it's always best to have a plan for every single thing that might happen, so that if that thing happens, you're not surprised and caught off guard. So this is what I would like to say to everyone: have a plan ready for everything that can happen.
Okay, so I would like to propose one thing to all the participants. So if you have any questions on the early admit master's program that I previously mentioned, you can ask. I am here to clarify all your doubts, including stipend and the recruitment process. I would like anyone who is interested in doing MTech. I would like to suggest them, and of course, if they are in the top 5 of their class, come in top 5 of their class, they should enroll for this program. It's a very good opportunity. See, to be honest, it's an IIT anyhow. Okay, so you get a certification from IIT. It's a very big thing. You get a higher pay scale automatically. I would like to cite an example. Back in 2003, one of uh, one of my cousin sister, she got a job in L&T. Okay, so at that time she was paid 15,000 rupees per month, and in the same company for the same post, an IITian friend of her got a job, and uh, his pay was almost around 56,000 something. So yeah, it makes an impact. Okay, being into IIT, it makes an impact. So if you have the opportunity, go grab it. Uh, it's a good thing. Okay, if you want to do masters, you have the opportunity, you should take it. You should take a chance, and they don't take any fees for enrollment or anything. So yeah, just go for it.
In conclusion, I would like to say myself that if you have any doubts, feel free to ask me. I'll drop my email and phone number on chat so that you can reach out to me. And it's okay if you're confused right now. Trust me, it's okay. All of us have been where you are right now. We have been confused. We are thinking what we should do, what steps should we take. But the solution to this all is face the confusion head on, understand what is it that's causing your confusion, and then try to resolve it, so that you get to know what is going on, what you want to do in life. And then what I've been saying all this webinar long: always have a plan, always think ahead, always think what if this happens, because we always want to be optimistic that yes, I can do it, and it's good to be confident. I suggest you be confident, but you should always have a plan B in mind. What if it doesn't happen? What do I do? So I'll drop my credentials in chat. Feel free to contact me anytime.
I would like to say, like, if you are going for MTech, there will be ups and downs. And of course, this online platform is difficult, and I hope this gets over soon. Uh, but yeah, it will be difficult in the first few months because any anyone would feel difficult to have online classes, right? It's difficult from face-to-face interaction versus the online classes. Uh, but the thing is, uh, if you are really interested and you're really dedicated to what you're doing, things will go right your way. Okay. For example, in my case, I was really scared in the first semester if I'd clear the semester or not. But right now, the courses that I've taken is helping me in my research work. The courses that I've taken is perfectly aligned with my research work. So that is a good sign that my MTech is going really well. I would say it's going really well, not really, yeah, really well. So yes, that would be my suggestion to you. Don't be afraid, be confident with what you're doing. If you think you can, you will. Okay, so that's what I would like to say. Thank you for this session. Thank you, Bhagyashree ma'am. Thank you, Utkarsh. Thank you, Abhishek. And thank you, Vaibhav, for joining the session and having me here. Okay. Thank you, everyone. I hope you have a good weekend.
I think we are done with the Q&A session.
So I would like to thank all the speakers for being here and taking time out of a busy day. And moreover, it's a Sunday, so it will be a rest day for you guys. But thank you very much for being here. And equally, I would like to thank all the participants who are here for taking out your time and joining us here. Moreover, I would also like to thank Vav for providing us with the platform 13X that allowed us to conduct this webinar. And it was a great experience doing this for the first time with Vav, and we would like to do more such interactions. And as a SARC team of NERIS, that is the Student Alumni Relationship Cell, we would like to create a stronger relationship with all our alumni and have further such sessions so that we can gain further insights from their experience and their knowledge. So it was a very great webinar, and I would like to thank everyone for being here. Thank you and have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Abhishek. Thank you, Utkarsh. Bye-bye, everyone.